Hi, I'm Sarah, and I'm the Director of Student Development at Trails Momentum.
And I'm Dan, I'm a primary therapist at Trails Momentum.
We're here to talk to you today about gaming addiction. You may have seen our previous videos on video game addiction. They focused on games like Fortnite, League of Legends, and Call of Duty. Today we'd like to share with you our recovery plan that we implement with young adults who are struggling with video game addiction at Trails Momentum. We've got 6 components that we want to go over with you, and we're going to start with the first and probably the most obvious one, which is to unplug a young adult from that addictive behavior. When students come to Trails Momentum, they can't play video games anymore, they're away from them. So what happens once they're away from that addictive device?
Most of the time it's pretty confusing for them.
Yeah, really?
So the first thing that we see happen most oftentimes is when kids get away from what they turn to as an addiction, they become confused, they are pretty foggy. It takes a while for them to begin to think clearly again, because most of the time they've spent their attention trying to get to or staying with the screen around gaming. So that's kind of the first thing that happens.
Right.
The other thing that kind of happens at the same time, though, that's pretty cool, is that they begin to be able to experience nature.
Right.
So they're right out in the middle of nature, and it's just sort of a natural fill-in that takes place.
Like a distraction.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Nice.
Yeah. So they're immersed, and they begin to learn skills around nature, and it begins to move their focus, and hopefully at the same time it begins to clarify, helps to clear their mind. So as they get distracted with nature, a couple other things begin to happen. One is they are also in the middle of a community.
Right, because I mean, we're a young adult program. We've got other young adults there. It's co-ed, so they're meeting other people.
Yeah, and they're having to be together like 24/7.
Right.
And so they move through their day together,
right,
which automatically facilitates having to navigate relationships.
Sure.
And for many of these folks, they're navigating relationships for the first time in a long time without being able to run to a game or do it online.
Right.
I mean, they're actually face to face.
Sure.
And for many of them, that's like almost a new experience.
For sure. And at the same time that they're doing all of that, they're also getting support from that group, right?
Absolutely.
So this new peer group is supporting them in their, kind of their withdrawal experience, right?
Right.
Okay. So as they're doing that, they're also meeting with their therapist individually and maybe also in group therapy, and they're able to then kind of start to break down what was happening for them.
Yeah.
So they spend some time like thinking through, here's what I was doing, like that analysis phase, right?
Right. And it's right. They begin to look at, gosh, how is this whole thing kind of connected?
Right.
At the same time, it's a great way for us to be able to help them be able to do the comparison and contrast.
Sure.
What it's like now without a screen versus when they have a screen.
Sure.
And it also helps us and them see how severe it might have been.
Gotcha. Yeah. So that first step again is just to pull the student away from that video game experience and give them a new kind of experience where they can start to look at what they were doing, get some support from their peer group, have therapeutic intervention and support, and really start to examine how they want to continue to go forward in their life.
And I would say of all of those, probably the most important piece is to reintroduce them into face-to-face relationships.
Right.
Because that's where the growth really happens.
For sure. So again, the first step is to really unplug the student, the young adult, from that addictive behavior and from that video game and give them these opportunities for therapeutic support. Stay tuned and you can learn more about what we're going to do next in our program, which is to replace that addiction.